This week, I'm excited to report 2 new mini milestones for one of my big savings goals. I'm also in the home stretch for fully funding my Roth IRA for 2025. I can't wait to share my progress with you. If you're ready, let's go. Welcome back to Ready Budget Go. My name is Drew, and on this channel we talk about household budgeting, saving money, and achieving our financial goals. So if those sound like things that you vibe with, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, and leave me a comment down below because I'd love to hear from you. It's the end of the week, so it's time for my weekly budget update. So I'm going to start like I always do with the cash dump, and then we'll get into the numbers. So let me set aside my budget binder for a moment and we'll open up the pouches and see where we are. So this is a new pouch this week. I've actually had it for a little while. I picked it up at the airport in Seattle last time I flew home from a trip. So I'm using this in place of this older Delphonics pouch. I've still got this, but this has next week's cash in it. So still in use, still here, but I'm going to be going with this one for any $20 bills that are left over. And I do have one this week, so that is exciting because that is a big savings toward my gift budget for birthdays, holidays, and occasions. So we've got 20 in here, and then we've got a whole bunch of cash in here. Goodness, that's a big pile. A lot of ones, but there's some fives in here too. So I think this one is all separated. Yep. And then we've got another 5 here. Okay. So essentially what I do, if you haven't seen one of these videos before, is I allow myself to spend $100 in cash each week, and I take it out of the ATM each week. Although I'm hoping in August I can just make one trip to the bank for the whole month instead of going each and every week. So I pull that money out, and then I have that money to spend throughout the week, and anything that is left over, whether it's change or money that I did not spend, like this 20 here, I held that back and I put it toward Christmas presents, birthdays, holidays, occasions, things like that. So this week, going into the Letterbucks challenge, which I do once a month on the first weekend of the month, we've got 25, 35, 36, 7, 8, 9, 40, 41, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, $48. My soft goal is to put $50 in each week, but 48 is still plenty good. So this money will go into this pouch, and this holds all of the money for the month. I'm not going to count this, but it will be ready and waiting for when we do the Letterbucks challenge in early August. So there's all the ones. Most of it is ones. We got 5s, and then we've got a 20. Okay. So I'm going to put this big wad of cash back in here. We'll close this up. And then we've also got to dump the change. And I have more change this week than I do typically. The prices changed, oh my goodness, at the place that I usually buy lunch when I go to work. So, and of course they went up because that's all that prices do anymore. So I've got a fair bit of change. Looks like, I don't know, $1 something. So that goes in, and there's still more. A couple more pennies, and I think that's it. Nope, another quarter and another penny. Okay. Yep, that's it. All right, so this is empty. This is stuffed. This is stuffed. I will take this to Coinstar and redeem it for a gift card as we get closer to the holidays. Ugh. There we go. Because then wherever I get the gift card, they will pay the counting fees. So let me put all of these pouches away, and I will get back the budget binder, and we'll start going through the numbers for the week. And I apologize if the camera is shaking here. Okay, so let me get my notes handy here in just one sec. So I had a little bit of an aberration this past week, and I wasn't really sure how to record it in my budget. So I essentially made a purchase for a friend who's going through kind of a difficult time right now, and he reimbursed me. So I had an expense, and then cash coming in, and then a payment to the credit card that I used. So what I'm going to do, I think, because I debated whether I was going to put the reimbursement as income. I think I will, and I'm just going to call it friend reimbursement just to protect privacy. I can't use his initials because his initials are like something a different another abbreviation or acronym that I use elsewhere in my budget. So to prevent confusion, I'm just going to call it a friend reimbursement. I didn't plan for this, but it was $201.02. So I'm just going to call it 201 because I always round income down. So that's there. I didn't get paycheck 2 yet. That won't come until the end of the month. And cell phone reimbursement is also at the end of the month. But I did pay all of these bills. So PUD, I budgeted 60 and actually spent 55. Affirm was 43 as planned. Visible 35 as planned. Affirm is my cell phone hardware. Visible is my cell phone service plan. Prescriptions, I budgeted 150 and spent 113, so that was good. And then Dr. Bill 1, I budgeted 280 and spent 280. I just paid that this last weekend. So that's all the bills that I had planned for. I'm not going to total this up just yet because there may be more bills coming. So I don't do that until I close out the month. Wallet we will come back to. Stockpiles, no changes. Savings and extra debt, $300 went to the Roth IRA this week because that's what we did in Game Night and the Savings Challenge books. So we're done here for now. Next up, we will go to cash flow. And I did have a deposit. So this is from friend reimbursement. And the actual amount was $201.02. And then I made the credit card payment for that. The balance is higher than this, but I did it for only this exact amount so that I would be able to track it across my budget, across my checking account, and across the credit card and receipts and everything like that. So that essentially cancels that out. And then I did go to the ATM to take out this week's spending. That was $100. And I also sent I sent 300 to the Roth IRA. And that was it for the cash flow. This is basically like a check register. So this is everything that comes into and goes out of my checking account on a monthly basis, and I always balance it at the end of the month. And then we have expenses. So I meant to pre-fill these, but I just ran out of time today. So on the 19th, I went to McDonald's. Food, $7.59, and this is because I did not have time to grocery shop. My friend, is dealing with a family emergency that kind of blew up this weekend, so I shopped later than I normally did, so there was an additional restaurant meal here. Also on the 19th, Target. I'm going to call this miscellaneous. And this was the $201.02. On the 20th, Safeway. Food, $120.51 was a big spend week on food, at least as far as groceries are concerned. Also on the 20th, McDonald's again. And I must have ordered the same thing because it was the exact same amount as the other transaction, $7.59. On the 22nd, Lyft ride. This was actually on the 19th, I think, but it didn't post until the 22nd. Transportation for $28.60. On the 24th, DoorDash. I usually get DoorDash on Thursday night. $19.86 this week. And then on the 24th, weekly cash spent, This doesn't get a category, even though it's almost all lunches for work days, but it could be literally anything, so I just don't bother. And it's always going to be $100 from now on, because I'm counting the money that I'm holding behind for gifts as money spent, because as far as I'm concerned, it's out of my account. I'm not really using it as part of my typical cash flow budgeting, whatever. It's sort of like a sinking fund or a stockpile to be tapped only for events and holidays. So let's add up the spending for the week. $7.59 plus 201.02, 120.51, 759, 28.60, 19.86, and 100, $485.17. And yes, that is significantly over what I typically budget, but let me just write this in here, 485.17. But remember, I also had the reimbursement that came in and reduced that. So I'm still going to record it as an expense, but it has been fully paid for. So if I take that out, let's see, 201.02. Realistically, $284.15 is what I spent, so I was actually under for this week. Last week I went over because of Prime Day, but that is going to be covered by stockpiles. And the week before that, I was over just a little bit, and that will come out of the remainder or buffer, what have you. So let's go back real quick to the cash flow tracker, and I just want to color code for the week, as I always do, just to delineate on this sheet where one week ends and the other begins. Let me grab out a pen here. I'm just going to grab this red one because it's what's on top. Oops, not cash flow, expenses. There we go. Okay. I'm left-handed, so I got to turn the whole page here. Okay. Easy enough. So now that is all for the income and expenses. So let's talk about savings. I had 2 milestones this week for my monetization challenge, which is also part of the big move. I've talked about the big move in weeks past. That is where I am saving to move to another state. There we go. I don't know exactly when this will be happening. My goal is for sometime in 2026. And I figure I need about $15,000, but it's going to be most likely more than that. But that is what I'm planning on currently. So I do this by tracking my subscriber count. This week I crossed 540 and then I crossed 550. So I am going to color those in, and I've got the wrong colors here. This is correct, but this other one is not. We need the blue, dark blue. I think this is the right blue. Yes, it must be. Well, yes. I'm going with yes. If it's not the end of the world. Yeah, I think that's right. So I am not the best at coloring, as I always say. Especially with these brush markers that I love them, but this paper is not really well suited to them. But I didn't want to go and do a custom print with a heavier stock or heavier bond paper just for one sheet. So, okay, so that's that one. And then we've got this one. Now, I did transfer the money to high yield today. It is not there yet, but I'm going to record it on the other sheet anyway. Update the balance. So each of these symbols is 10 subscribers. And for every 10 subscribers, I save $50. So $5 per subscriber. So if you aren't already subscribed and you'd like to do so, I will save $5 if you do, and put it toward one of my goals. So by subscribing, you really help the channel in 2 ways. Number 1, you help the channel grow. And number 2, you help me save toward one of my big goals. So let's record the date here, which is 7/24 as I'm filming. And I deposited $100, which brings the total to $2,750. Okay, so that's it for this. Now let's talk about the IRA. And here's the IRA. So this is the one that we're working on for this year. And on the 23rd, I think it was, I put $300 toward the Roth IRA, which brought the total to $5,972 for the year. So I will mark off 3 more sloths on the Sloth IRA because we are going slower this year than I have in years past, where I just shoved all of it in at once, or as fast as I could. This year I've been much more methodical. Okay, so that means we've got 1 left on this row, and then 1 more row, and then we're done for the year, which is really exciting because this is something that I want to make sure that I do every year that I work. I always want to be contributing to the Roth IRA. I have a traditional 401k at my employer. They do offer a Roth option, but I've just been sticking with the traditional just because it's what I've always done. And I don't know, I feel I benefit from the tax break. So I do the Roth separately on my own with my after tax money, obviously, and it's going along pretty well. So that is it for savings for the week. Thank you to all of you who are new subscribers. Welcome. I appreciate each and every one of you, whether you were here from the beginning or you're brand new. The fact that you want to spend time with me each and every week really does my heart good. So thank you so much. And even if you're not subscribed, I do want to say thank you for watching for this week. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave it a thumbs up. Comment down below so I know you were here. And then I will see you on Monday for game night. And also, Monday is the Etsy release, my July Etsy drop. So stay tuned for that. I'll have 2 videos out on Monday. Wednesday will be the Savings Challenge books. And then on Friday, I'll be right back here again for another weekly budget update. So thank you again so much for watching. And until I do see you in the next one, take care.